This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Thinking about all this, I want to ask you as well. I know you spoke it out on it. I saw your tweet. I thought I agree with your tweet about the slavery is a choice thing, like this thing that Kanye West said.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Thank you. Why is that? Why do you feel that way? Okay.
There is no excuse for a man of honor to have remained a slave. He had several options, three of which are he could have escaped, he could have had a rebellion, an insurrection, or he could die.
Yeah, and people did those things. The individuals did escape, they did fight, and they died.
And they didn't stay in slavery. The problem was not enough of us did it.
So why you think
slave the Native Americans? Because the Native Americans would just let themselves die. They wouldn't eat.
So why do you think people are so, like, the black folks are so emotional about this issue? Like somebody said, well, slavery was a choice.
Their ancestors were the ones that didn't have the balls to run their ass away, create an insurrection, or go die. And the ones, see, we call each other kings and queens, but our ancestors, if you were black American who got caught, weren't kings and queens. They were peasants. Now, some of those peasants rose above themselves. Some weren't really peasants, but they got caught wrong time, wrong place. They jumped off the boat. Some of them might have just bided their time and said, no, hell no, let me find out what this is. I'm going to escape. And they escaped. Some of them got caught and died. Some of them got brought back, tried to escape again multiple times, got beaten half to death, but they kept going. Some people and there were plenty of revolts that occurred.
Right.
Had plenty of individual instances, and there was always the final option, I'm not going to take it, I'll die first. He's not getting another ounce of my free labor.
Yeah. I mean, could you even listen to the slave narratives, like a former enslaved black people? They were interviewed by the Works Progressive Administration on the Library of Congress back in the 40s and the 50s and 30s. And one guy even said that if they brought back slavery, he would shoot himself. Yeah. He said a lot of black folks chose that even when they got free, a lot of black folks wanted to be slaves. That's what he was saying. His own words.
Uncle Remus. Uncle Remus, I remember back in the 50s when we were in elementary school, we all looked at it. They required us to learn the songs. They zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day, my oh my, what a wonderful day. The theme of Uncle Remus was he was a slave and he was lamenting that the South was being overwhelmed by the evil people out of the North, and he was going to be turned loose on his own when he was so happy being a slave.
And the guy who played Uncle Remus won an Oscar for that role. Which
oh, yeah?
Interesting.
That's changed.
So, like, should we be responsible for teaching these stories? Like, even the Haitian Revolution, they chose not to be slaves. They chose to fight back.
Toussaint Louverture.
Yeah.
He led the revolution. They got screwed up when in the 1920s, the United States sent the Marine Corps down there to occupy the islands, and they deliberately put in Marine Corps personnel who were from the South, and they terrorized Haiti. We did that. And then they set up the likes of Papa Doc Duvalier, and then Papa Doc Jr., our baby Doc. And then, see, we've got the Maroons. The Maroons didn't need emancipation because they got themselves free. They still have Maroons in Jamaica mine. They are the elite military unit that the British Armed Forces always like to integrate into their maneuvers because they're so bad, man.
Wow. So we got to talk more about these, exceptions to the rules there. I mean, I think a lot of us don't know about these, people or this history.
That's why everybody on the planet looks down on us. I see, we look to Africa to say we got pride in Africa, but nobody looks up to Africa either. It would be up to us to collaborate with them to make what we are something glorious. But then you see, we go and get the highest box office ever on a action adventure superhero movie, Black Pussy, also known as a Black Panther movie. And the thing is to give all your secrets that put you 500 years in the future technologically, so you can reverse the role of white man taking over Africa to Africa taking over everywhere else, and you give it away because you're good Negroes.
That's right. That's right. I got to ask you too. Have you seen this CW superhero TV show called Black Lightning?
I looked at it. I could take it 10 minutes, and I turned away.
What made you turn away? I'm just curious. I think I know, but
if you had superpowers, what would you be doing?
I'll be running the world. I'll be saving people, running the world.
Yeah, but what else would you be doing? Can't nobody stop you, so what would you be doing?
I'll be running stuff. I'll be running everything.
Exactly. How about Nazis running around? What would you do with them?
I'll make them work for me. I'll get rid of them all.
Exactly. And then you get a black superhero movie where the semi-immortal, half-godlike entity does not do that, I'm not looking at it.
But even like we come today, right? We say, well, slavery is a choice, but is not also police brutality a choice too?
It is.
I remember if you say that, people get all upset about it though. Oh my God, why you gonna say stuff like this?
But see, it's another thing too. One of the premises on which this country was founded, excluding the slaves, because they didn't think slaves would appreciate it, nor did they want them to hear it. You have an obligation to resist the tyranny. See, that's what I did down at this bozo, the clown place, juvenile court in Shelby County. In other words, you have an obligation to comply with righteous laws and regulations and procedures. But you have a duty and an obligation to resist unjust laws and proceedings. So it was nothing just about what was going on. That place, in the 40-some-5 years I'd had experience with it, there was nothing just going on. The first appearance down there, the judge was a 6th grade dropout. That was the extent of his education. And that bozo called me the N-word when he thought I was on his docket.
Wow.
That's personal, but just off of the wrong they've done to this community, poor white and all the black folk that go down through there over the last, since 55 years, since that clown got in there in 1963, the late unlimited Kenneth Turner, formerly head of Vice Squad. But anyway, see, it's so unjust that when I saw an injustice being done to a lady, it was my duty and obligation to resist and not comply with the request of an unjust proceeding. And if I went to jail for it, then fine. That was just what had to happen. People forget civil disobedience. That's the whole thing about the 60s. And by the way, last week was the anniversary, 50th anniversary of what those National Guardsmen did up at Kent State University in Ohio. Shot all those students. They were white, but they still shot them down because they were peacefully protesting.
Wow.
A lot of stuff happened in 1968. Bunchy Carter and company and Geronimo Pratt G, we called him. I recruited him to UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
John Huggins, I recruited him to UCLA. Bunchy Carter, I recruited him to UCLA. Nathaniel Clark, I recruited him to UCLA. Elaine Brown, I recruited her to UCLA. They were all Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
See, they murdered 2 of them in cold blood, and I wound up having LAPD detectives tell me, that somebody in their SIS unit was working with the people who were the killers. They told me that.
Wow.
I told them that. They said, no way. They called me up. I said, well, what do you want? Well, they're your buddies, blah, blah, blah. And then I heard a whisper, said, we can't talk loud. Meet us at such and such restaurant. So I met them at the restaurant. Well, what's the problem? I said, well, yeah. I said, you were right. They're with us. I said, they are. I told you. I said, yeah, we can't get to them because every time we get ready to go out, somebody from the SIS tips them off that we're coming. SIS was Special Investigative Services for LAPD.
Wow.
They tried to kill me too, hell, but I wasn't in my chair when they put 4 bullet holes through the back of it. My office was in that building, and they killed Huggins and Carter down there on the first floor. There were 4 people in the gunman party. 2 were backup, and 2 were the trigger men. Everybody knew who they were. Witnesses gave the police their mama's address. They got 2 of them who were accessories. They convicted them of second-degree murder, put them in jail. They walked off 2 days after they got put in, and they never reported them. And I saw them out on the streets a year after that at the Palladium down on Hollywood Boulevard. A guy named Yuko Babu, who runs the Pan-African Film Festival, he, myself, and several others, we were trying to raise money for Frelimo to get them some combat boots and jungle fatigues. We had bought up a bunch of them, but the State Department confiscated them, and they wound up giving us the cash value, so we had to get the cash there because they didn't want us doing that. But these clowns showed up at the concert we had given. And then guess what? 25 years after that, they tried to turn themselves in. They'd been convicted of second-degree murder and walked off after serving 2 days of the sentence. And California told them they weren't interested. And they never did get the 2 gunmen.
Wow.
So, I mean, this stuff was going on.
Crazy.
So that's just kind of background for a lot of this nonsense. But, we've kind of got off the subject, I guess. But let's see, what else is in the news? Oh, yeah. Labor Department reports the lowest unemployment in the last 20 to 25 years generally, and the lowest black unemployment in 36 years. So people say that's a lie, it's fabrication, you can't believe anything Trump says, but Trump didn't say it. The Department of Labor did. But, I mean, anyway, also the other little thing came up was on directive, black colleges are getting the biggest chunk of money they've had in the last 48 years.
Really?
Right. And, yeah, so we all love Hillary Clinton, and some people are talking about Bernie Sanders as a traitor for keeping Hillary from winning. No, we don't need a witch.
But that's interesting with the Trump thing. Even with what's going on with North and South Korea, they're not really giving him any credit for that, which is fascinating.
Is saying I'm stopping the test. All these other folk running around in hysteria talking about he gonna ruin it. He'll all get us in a nuclear war. Hell, he's even got Iran talking some sense. So, I mean, I don't particularly like him, but I mean, what the devil? Results are getting delivered. All these other fools you had in there for the last, let's say, 8 years for the Obama tang, and then you've got 8 years for the Bushite, and 8 years for Clinton. So what's that? That's 3 times 8. That's 24 years. And you certainly didn't get it for the 4 years of George Herbert Walker. That's another A4 topped on top of the 24. That's 28 years. And then you get another bloody doggone thing down there with that fake St. Ron the Raygon. That was 8 years thrown in on that.
Mm.
So, you know, what time is this?
Wow.
What's Obama's doing? He didn't do a damn thing. It's nothing. He was a front. He was a little white boy, skinny white boy, looking like a chick flick matinee star that played basketball. And as BBC observed, he didn't even try to give a character message to the youth, and came from one of the richest families in the world, and we didn't get anything. So, you know, just the idea, you got the first black-looking president, and you get a Trump giving you more? That's ridiculous.
But then, like, I talked to some black people. They seem to be very emotional about Trump in a negative way. Like, why do we have such an emotional response to people like Trump?
They've been conditioned to be dogs. You know what I mean by that? The dog always protects the master.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Missy Hillary and Master Clinton, and they're defending their masters and don't even know why.
What do you think about
Bernie Sanders? Because he gave difficulties to their mistress coming in so she could take over the plantation. And the Russians were at fault, so their Missy didn't take over the plantation. No, they just hated her.
Mm.
Dogs sitting up there barking and trying to defend the master and missus.
It's something to behold, man. I mean, it is something else right now with us right now. I just think that
somebody's gonna get on me, like somebody sweet. You're not black, down in black folk like that.
Right.
Nobody drowns black. I said, you know what? It's not down in black folk and not help hating yourself when you try to correct former slaves to not look at their lives in a sagged and bagged fashion, pull their pants up and be men, and berating them for not. Am I wrong on that?
I mean, I think somebody should, speak out. I mean, I definitely respect people's freedom of speech and expression, especially a person that stand by what they say. And Judge, you have been very consistent in standing by what you say, and you deliver. And I was thinking about when you were saying that, there's a couple of things that crossed my mind about, okay, like black people, we support people that speak out on our behalf. We love celebrities that stand up for us, but then we find out the celebrity is sleeping with the other. Like, they married to a white woman or a white man or whatever. And we like, oh man, they can't represent us because they sleep with the enemy. What's your thoughts on that?
I just say everybody needs to take a DNA test, find out what they have in them. A whole lot of people that look like they're white aren't. A whole lot of people that think they're super black got a lot of white in them.
Mm.
It's a cultural thing, a matter of perception. The perception can get you killed real quickly when the reality could save you.
Yeah.
Or something short of dying.
I mean, 'cause you look at a lot of people that were players in the civil rights movement. A lot of them slept, with others. Marry others.
Yeah, and civil rights movement. I didn't buy into it because there's nobody gonna whip my head while I'm down on the ground on my knees without me trying to kill them.
Mm-hmm. That's just natural. I mean, that's a natural response.
But they did what they did. A lot of them were on the bi side, gay side, secretly or not so secretly. A lot of them were masochistic. Some of them meant well.
Mm-hmm.
But like Malcolm X said, ain't turning the other cheek.
Right. I think this is where we're at right now. I mean, like, that's why you got the slavery is a choice people who said slavery was not a choice. They look at it, I guess, the civil rights generation model. Well, love thy enemy.
The bottom line is you should be deeply ashamed of the fact that black folk were such good slaves.
Mm.
But they don't want to admit that because they have this systemic outlook of we survived. The black man survived in America. That's a shame. There shouldn't be so many of us as there are today, because so many of us should have died trying to get free. And then the other thing, see, that's like fast food and cows.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few large mammals on the planet that's not in danger of dying out or becoming extinct are cows. Why? Because we eat a lot of cow. Mickey D's, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, steakhouse stuff, steak or burger or whatever it may be. And even though every damn cow in the herd is going to get slaughtered and made into a beef steak or a beef burger, the herd will survive. So we look at it as it's okay for us to passively go to the slaughterhouse and die as long as we survive. I don't look at it like that because I'm no damn bovine. Or any porcine, that's a pig, or any sheep, or anything else. I like to eat meat. I am a predator. I revel in being an apex predator on the planet, the apex predator. And ain't nobody gonna treat me like I'm some 4-footed cud chewer or leaf eater.
All right.
But some of our people are proud of it and they brag about it because you know why we do a lot of this stuff? We haven't done enough personally to hold our chest out and say, screw you. You know, I've done what, I should have done, and I'm not through doing it.
Yep. You ever had black women doing slavery, killing their children to keep them from becoming slaves?
Not that frequently.
But were examples, though. I'm saying we have examples of people even you look at Virginia, you look at Gabriel Prosser, what he tried to do. He was going to lead an insurrection and kidnap the governor of Virginia, and then some of his own so-called people snitched on him.
Some people turn him in. But you see, before the Civil War, what's interesting about it?
What?
Till they got those immigration waves after the Civil War from Europe, America was 1/3 black. And you have all that frontier from the Mississippi all the way to the West Coast. And you mean to tell us that these folk who have gotten all of these skills over in Africa dealing with forest and trail could not have gotten their sorry behinds off into that wild wilderness between the West Coast and the Mississippi River and mingled with the Indians and gotten free?
I mean, we did. Our problem is we helped them win the West. The Buffalo Soldiers is just responsible for that.
The bottom line is, we weren't fighting for ourselves.
That's the problem. I'm saying that's why I said it's a problem with the Buffalo Soldiers, because they were fighting for the white man.
And then I'll even give these brothers something too. At the end of the Civil War, Grant, for example, in his memoirs noted that you never saw a colored soldier without a book or a slate to practice his writing. And on a survey he took, it turned out that the only 100% literate outfits in the whole Union Army were colored volunteers. So what happened between then and now? And these brothers, see, Civil War battles were bloody.
Right.
More people died in the Civil War than have died in all the other American wars put together. And there was no anesthesia. The surgery was brutal. They sawed a ruptured leg off while you were wide awake, biting down on something. There was no medicine. People died more gangrene and disease than anything else. And you stood and delivered in some withering fire and wound up basically representing the proportion of the American population. 1/3 of the Union Army wound up colored.
Wow.
So they fought for their freedom. What happened to their sorry ass and descendants?
You know what? It's interesting you say all that, because tomorrow is going to be the birthday anniversary of John Brown. But even he knew that as a white man, he couldn't fight for the black man's liberation, that the black man must fight for himself. But he was willing to sacrifice his life for the liberation.
Yeah, for a principle. I have no problems with him. He's a decent human being. By the way, there's a movie you should see, and it's based on a true story. I met one of the man's descendants.
Okay.
It's called Free State of Jones, County of Mississippi.
Oh, yeah, I see. That's a great movie. Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
1947, We saw what went on. We could have been doing that a lot, but we didn't.
That's our problem. That's why we, like you said, we never really had our moment where we really fought, like a revolutionary, like fought to the death, bloody.
Now, see, one of our things is we are too matriarchal, and the women that constitute our matriarchy are not trained. And you know what they lack?
What?
Something that the Spartan mothers were ideal examples. Son, come back with your shield or on it. In other words, if you did it, you're coming back with it. If you didn't, you're dead and you're being carried on it.
Mm-hmm.
Our mothers don't tell our boys that there's something to die for unless it's trivial.
I hear you. You know what? I was thinking about what you were saying because I'm looking at what's happening to Cosby. They're trying to erase the man's whole legacy, not just destroy the man, but destroy the legacy.
For the legacy. Somebody that got to the top of that filthy, rotten Hollywood game. And he had a PhD, and he was trying to show us how to live in a decent family instead of that encroaching matriarchy that's so poisonous that we have.
Yeah, but even a lot of us don't realize, even like you look at Black Lightning or the Black Lives Matter movement, where they basically, they try to get rid of alpha black males, alpha black hetero males. That's why Malcolm is not appreciated, really, because Malcolm was too much of a man. See, and they try to water him down.
Yeah, see, I understand what King was about, but the truth of the matter is that prior to King getting assassinated, the person that the young black folk went for was Malcolm X, not Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's like everybody thinks warmly of John F. Kennedy, right?
Right.
John F. Kennedy's ratings 2 weeks before he died were worse than Trump's are right now.
I believe it.
But they deified him because he got shot.
Right. Not only did he get shot, but he died. He had to die, like unlike George Wallace.
He died. Anyway, he died. Now people deify him.
Right, that's true.
The same thing. They did that with Malcolm X. See, the underground thing was Malcolm X is the man. Martin Luther King was not the same thing Malcolm X was.
But he's easy to digest more than Malcolm even today, right? Because they could.
Yeah, they made a holiday out of it.
Right.
Strong man was Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm. But I meet black folks, they still afraid of Malcolm X. They try to say stuff like by any means necessary. Then they try to say, "Oh, I didn't mean like that." why say it? Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death."
Yeah, but white folk all through elementary school, junior high, and high school heard this for the last 240 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think black folks got that?
Oh, no. Okay. Even Barry Goldwater, he said extremism is a virtue in some cases.
Yeah, in other words, black folk did not get put in there, give me liberty or give me that. I regret that I have one life to give, just one life.
Nathaniel Hale, right.
I have not yet begun to fight.
Yep. I shall return.
What is it? The Marine Corps has that thing. Retreat. Hell no. We just got here.
That's right. Well, it's funny how they made like the docile grass-eating cows. Like you said, we like cows.
Exactly. We survive.
We're very docile, submissive.
Sometimes I want to puke. Say, act like a damn man, for God's sake. Get your nose out of this goddamn TV watching basketball and other foolishness. Pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, King James, man.
Talk out there trying to run sleazy babes that are overweight. Go buy yourself a damn pistol and some ammo. Go to the range and learn how to use the thing. And get you a CCW if you don't already have a crook background.
Wow. Yeah, but I mean, even like with the thing, like I think about the two white lesbians who killed their black adopted kids, right? That they did a Thelma and Louise. We let our kids, like, why we are not more advocates for our kids, like protection of our children? Like, if you know our kids are being railroaded, how come we not standing in the gap for our kids, for our children, like we should?
We don't get it. I'll give you an example. Pancakes. You remember what Aunt Jemima used to look like on the pancake box?
Yeah, she was fat, big and black.
Uh-huh. Well, I haven't looked in the last 4 or 5 years, but the last time I did, they had Aunt Jemima looking like Beyonce. Now, what are they putting up in the movies and on television as ideal black woman looks like old Aunt Jemima. And I'll say something about that. Everybody can be beautiful inside.
Right.
But, you know, we've got some of the poor sisters who are going around and they're talking about, I'm an African queen and I'm a beautiful woman. No, sister, I'm sorry. I'd take you to a whole bunch of villages in Africa and they wouldn't classify you as beautiful. So get over that. And since you denegate physical beauty, work on your mind. Be a good mother to somebody. And stop running around trying to act like you want somebody to chase you, but acting like you don't want somebody to chase you. Mm-hmm. You know, beauty is a rare thing. It's like athleticism. Everybody is not a star athlete if you're a guy. So you get over it and do something else if you can't play basketball because you're 6'4".
Right.
Or, you know, you're not a football player or a baseball player. You go find something else. You can be a warrior if you can stand there in line and deliver. You can be a hunter. So you don't have to even be that. You can use your head.
But you look at what the programming they're doing on us through the culture and through the TV and stuff, like all they push is like being entertainers for black people. That's the most powerful thing would be our entertainers, entertaining white people.
And by the way, what they do us a disservice on. Remember the movie Hidden Figures about the black women that did calculations for NASA?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I met them years and years and years ago. Let me describe them to you. They were hot. In micro mini dresses and afros, looking good. And what did they look like in the movie?
I mean, you said on the ladies that were in the movie, they were not attractive at all?
No, that ain't my ideal of a fine woman. I mean, some sisters are okay, you know,
mm-hmm.
but
I mean,
I think look at it as denegation of masculinity. In other words, the ladies are being trolled. They shouldn't worry about men being attracted to them. Mm-hmm. They have worth otherwise. Mm-hmm. The way Mother Nature works is she wants strong men to be attracted to certain kind of women, so they breed. Mm-hmm. So the next generation of boys are strong. The next generation of girls are capable and good looking.
I hear you. Mm.
So I'm sorry. That's just the way Mother Nature has worked for a long, long time, long before they had humans.
So you saying like eugenics existed in nature before Hitler, right?
Yeah.
So that's natural.
Yeah. And see, I'm sorry. I don't care how much you want it to be different from reality. Reality is what it is. Mm-hmm. Everybody has worth as a human. Mm-hmm. But everybody's not a beauty queen and everybody's not a star athlete. See, this is what's poisonous. You go to a junior high school and you ask the boys in the assembly what they want to be, and every hand goes up, they want to be a pro basketball player.
Of course.
Well, first off, there aren't as many pro basketball players in the country as there are students in that auditorium holding their hands up. Mm. So that's unrealistic. And if your behind's in the 11th grade and you 5'4", why are you holding your hand up to be a basketball player? Work on your mind. Mm. You know, so that's like the girls are going, we're all beautiful, honey. Yeah, but you're 200, 150 pounds overweight.
Right, exactly.
You know, and you'd make yourself look a lot better if you took all of that 20 pounds of weave out of your hair and took a shower and, you know, soaped down real well. You'd smell better. Mm. Hey.
Well, that's why, like you said, they destroyed Bill Cosby because he was trying to change the culture. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was trying to change how they program us through the media.
Yes.
But now he's gonna be remembered as being a rapist, druggist, and a rapist. Now that's the narrative they're gonna run with now. I remember I never gonna forget when I saw the playoffs a couple years ago, and it's about how Kobe Bryant teammates said he was a great teammate, but like one of the commentators said, but they put out a narrative years ago that Kobe was a bad teammate. So no matter what, I mean, like I guess his opinions, but they were trying to say that he has grown into his position as a leader, but because of what they put out through the media years ago, that's going to be the narrative that they stick with. That's the narrative that sticks.
There is a basis in fact in that he's selfish. I happen to have known Magic Johnson and his family for 35 years, right? Mm-hmm. He's part owner of the Lakers. I used to go to his parties. And I go, number one, we were there with the Dream Team, and they were just bitching about the year before during the playoffs.
Okay.
And Kobe wouldn't come to practice. So Kobe never would practice much. And it's like they'd have plays, but when Kobe got in, you couldn't have the play because if you gave him the ball, he didn't know the plays. He's just going to gun it and do what he's going to do. And if he's on, he'll make some points, but there's no team play. Now, I'll contrast that with another opinion on the matter. I didn't get that kind of treatment in L.A., but in Detroit, for 2 years running, they had me doing the tip-off during the playoffs. So what the Detroit players said was, yeah, the Lakers have better talent than we do, but they've got Kobe, so we win. Well, because Kobe keeps them from being a team.
Mm.
Coach Jackson said, go to hell. I quit. I'm not working with it anymore. So they really did something for his salary to bring him back for that last year when he became the winningest coach in NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
And during one playoffs, his last series of playoffs, the Lakers were down by 19 points. So he benched Kobe, and they caught up and were 17 points ahead within 7 to 8 minutes. So they asked him out of the game after the game, why'd you bench Kobe? Well, let's just say Kobe was trying to do too many things. In other words, he's been a ball hog and not a team player. You know, Shaq was a team player. And I like Shaq. I'm so glad he's got all these commercials. I'm glad for the brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they put that thing in the L.A. Times to show you what a chump Kobe was when he got jacked up for that rape stuff and he was trying to turn Shaq in.
Right, I remember that.
That was just cold-blooded wrong.
It was wrong. It was.
Well, you ain't nothing but acting like no fool hood rat trying to get out of your own wrong by jacking somebody else up.
Because Shaq never got in trouble for that type of stuff. I mean, he was discreet with his stuff.
Yeah, he's still a reserve cop.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they interviewed him. It was kind of funny on these, really out there sports shows. And they were Shaq, how you like being down here? Oh, it's great, man. How you feel, Shaq? Pain? Yeah, I got the pain under control. Team's looking great. We're going to go far. So they talk with him and say, all right, Shaq, great talking to you, brother. Great talking to you. Got anything else to say? So, well, no. Well, yeah. Kobe, go F yourself. The whole word.
Uh-huh.
See, people don't appreciate that kind of stuff where you're a prima donna and you can't be a team player. Actually, most of the folk out there thought that they would have been better off as a team if they had traded Kobe Bryant for some draft choices and some primo other players and kept Shaq. But for some reason, one of the co-owners, the majority owner now dead, was just in love with Kobe.
Dr. Jerry Buss, yeah. I guess they're looking at Shaq was on, Shaq been in the league for several years and Kobe was not even in his prime yet. So I guess he was going with the future.
Well, yeah, but the future wasn't Kobe.
I mean, they won 2 more rings, though, right? I mean, they won 2 more.
But see, here's what the deal is. What the Lakers had was so outstanding, but you never got a chance to see it because as long as they played him, they couldn't be a team. It's like one of them told me, I won't mention his name, he said it's like what we do is playground pickup ball. Well, you got a lot of talented people, but nobody's had a chance to be a team. Or other guy chimed in, yeah, it's like all-star game. Everybody's got a lot of talent, but it's just kind of run and gun and see what you do with no teamwork.
That's interesting. I mean, what about the triangle offense and stuff? I mean, so So
yeah, in other words, you have plays and you have 4 people on the floor that know the plays and will play them, and a 5th man that won't go along with the plays. And sometimes you have to give him the ball, and he's mad at everybody else because they won't give him the ball because he doesn't know the plays. He's going to run and gun, and if he's hot, then he gets some points. But if not, the team falls behind. So you put him on the bench, and then you put a 5th person in to take his place who's a team player. And at that point, what happens is they win. Now, I think I've met personally some of the best basketball players ever. Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's a classmate of mine, Magic, and I've met several others. I used to be on Penny Hardaway's board of directors for his charity foundation, and I met Michael Jordan. But I was sitting at a table with Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson at, it was called Garden of Eden, cat a corner across from Grauman's Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard in L.A. We got a joint party, which was one hell of a party going on. And like Magic was asking Jordan about it, he said, you know, I could have run up 80, 90 points a game, but after the first year, I said, you know, somebody needs to lead this team. So it'd be better for me to make 20 to 30 or 40 and keep getting rings because we play as a team and I make the team gel, or I can just go out and go for myself and see how many points I can score. So it's better for the team to win. But see, Kobe never understood that.
So why would Magic Johnson say that Kobe is the greatest Laker then?
Because he owned part on the Laker, and that's PR. And he wasn't the greatest Laker.
Who was the greatest Laker, in your opinion?
Him. Magic. He's a team player. Magic and Kareem got together, and that was unstoppable. Before that, most people don't remember him, but Elgin Baylor was one hell of a player. And Don Barksdale was a monster. Don Barksdale was the first brother to play in the NBA, and the Lakers hired him. He came out of UCLA. He ran track, the high hurdles, in the quarter mile, and the 400 meters in the Olympics. And he also was a wide receiver who caught the longest thrown ball in the history of organized football. Another brother who was Kenny Washington in that same UCLA backfield, and the first black to play for the NFL with the Rams, he threw a pass that was credited for 102 yards in the air.
Wow.
Not the pass play. He was 2 yards deep in the UCLA end zone. They had made a recovery. He fell back 2 yards into the end zone. He threw a pass that Don Barksdale caught as he was stepping over the goal line on the other end of the field.
Oh my God. It's like a video game, man. I ain't seen real.
It is. I was privileged to see a film clip of that.
Okay.
I said,
like some Titans, man. This a real guy.
That ball is still in the air. Damn. Looks like an ICBM. Damn.
Wow.
Well, he was tall, but he never played basketball, but he was a hell of a player, too. Wow. I used to get on him because he wouldn't get set before he'd take the shots. He'd do jump shots and stuff, which back in those days in the pros, coaches would bench players for taking jump shots.
Wow. That's something. Well, let me ask you this about, I got to get your take on LeBron James, then. Is he a team player?
Yeah, he is.
Is he in the same league as a Jordan, in your opinion, or where does he rank?
Jordan, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem. LeBron is great. He's in the right place at the right time. And Wilt Chamberlain is something. You know, Wilt Chamberlain scored more than 100 points all by himself.
Yes.
On 2 occasions.
I didn't know about the 2 occasions. Okay.
2 occasions. Wow. One he scored 110 and the other one like 102, 104, or something like that. See, the way these people play basketball now, I think they need to drop the shot clock back to 16 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
They play what used to be called prevent defense and stall offense.
Mm.
See, the ball would go in and everybody's sprinting for the other end of the floor. They don't do that now.
Mm-hmm.
When the defense came in, it was like, okay, let him take the bloody doggone shot. We'll get the ball back, sprint down to the other end and make a play, make a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Even basketball. I was at UCLA when they were undefeated for 7 straight years as NCAA champions. They were averaging, get this, 84 to 86% from the floor.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And they hustled. They were fast. See, back 35 years ago, they couldn't palm the ball. That was a foul. If you palmed a penalty. And that's, where you have it on your hand and you turn it over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nowadays, that's the stock way to do it. The guy lopes down, to the other side of the court and he's palming the ball slowly. Then they had to have your hand flat parallel to the ground. When you bounced it, you had to move faster.
Wow.
So they don't call that penalty. But anyway, people like it. They get paid a lot more money. But, I can remember going to some Lakers games where if it wasn't 65, 70 points at halftime, everybody got up, walked out, bored.
It's spoiled. There's some great basketball out there. But what do you think about do you think that teams today rely too much on 3-point shot now, or are they better shooters today than they were back then?
I don't know if they are. I just think they don't hustle as much.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, tell me, what do you think's more interesting? Championship game 62 to 54, or a championship game with a score of 134 to 128?
Oh no! I mean, I think the high score game would be something to watch.
Yeah, it is. It was.
Man, I like that. That's I would love it. Because like you said, but there's no defense being played, right? If it's high scoring like that.
Actually, what it looks like to me is what used to be called a prevent defense.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you go into a tight defense, and the way you cover your opponent is to try to keep him from taking a shot.
Okay.
And you make him take as long as you can before he gets the shot. Now, what happens? Ball goes in, somebody ambles down the field, down the court. He gives it to another guy. This guy looks around, holds it, dribbles 3 times, stops, throws it, passes it off to somebody else. And when there are 3 seconds left on the shot clock, he takes a shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just observations. Football is like that too. I played football in college, and the game, I don't think is interesting because you dummied the game up to make it a family affair.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the game on TV, they've got the computer-generated colored lines, let you know what's going on so people don't have to learn the rules and watch what's going on with the chain and the flags on the side of the field.
Right.
And the penalties are set up because they've gotten very protective of the players. They're talking about they might suffer from a head injury. Well, actually, frankly, since it's a substitute for a gladiatorial contest, the danger is what made it what it was. I played football, and it was part of the fact that it was dangerous. You could get hurt badly or killed that made it interesting. And then think about all the people that played in those old time fiber or leather helmets.
Right.
Or no face guards.
Yeah, it's something else, man. I don't see how people. I know a couple times they're thinking about, I guess eliminating the sport, but you think it's going to be every time that football gets eliminated or stop being played?
Not in a few years. It's the number one game. And baseball's too damn dull. if they would just reduce baseball to a format where when you saw it, you'd get the highlights. See, it started at a totally different time. It started as a variant for cricket.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in a day and time when there was no television and no radio, no movie theaters, and people would pay a nickel and catch 3 or 4 innings, drink beer, and eat some hot dogs with their buddies, and then go home for dinner and read about the outcome the next day in the paper. Because if you sit through a whole baseball game, it's kind of dull. The pitcher plays catch with the catcher, for hours on end. The guy sits there, pauses, looks to first, looks to second, spits, pauses, spits again, and then throws the ball. And the catcher gets it, and he throws it back, pause, slaps the ball in his glove, pause, shakes off the suggested pitch, slaps the ball in his glove, spits 3 more times,
right.
And it goes on. You put yourself to sleep with that. Drop the shot clock down to 16 seconds on basketball, loosen up some of these penalties for football, and speed the games up. Have you ever seen rugby?
No, I saw little highlights of it, but you told me how exciting it was to watch.
Yeah, there's no scrimmage exactly like that. In other words, unless something goes where the ball's out or something else happens, it keeps going. The guy gets tackled, and another runner picks the ball up, they pitch it out, whatever, and they don't have any helmets or anything at all, and it's full contact.
Wow.
What's interesting is some of this arena football.
What's your take on that?
Well, it's real hot, fast, and heavy. It's exciting. And they don't have all of that time out and everything going on. They need to speed that up, too.
I think they make you the sports czar for all the sports in America. Giving you some better improvements. I like some of the ideas you said, like make the shot clock back to 16. And
hurry the game up, hustling.
Yeah, I like the ideas. Even with the college basketball, Villanova, they was like a high scoring team for college basketball. I can hear you.
I saw UCLA score 156 to 64 one time.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's definitely some food for thought.
Mike Warren, Lucius Allen, Big Lou now, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. As interesting, Coach Wooten would be yelling at them during practice. You're out here to be students, not basketball players. You're basketball players and you got scholarships. Use your heads to play ball like you are a student and play ball like you understand. It's just to get you someplace to use your mind.
Right.
And he'd insist he wouldn't let it, by the way, he wouldn't let his players play unless they had a B average.
That's interesting. Okay. But he still was able to win, undefeated for 7 years?
Winningest coach in organized basketball history. I know that because I did a narration of a 2-hour special on him for HBO some years ago.
I think I've seen that. I didn't know it was I've probably seen that, if I'm not mistaken. But that's something. So he created a culture, though. He had set a standard. And but the college game is so different now with the one and done thing. Can you really do that? Can you really be that dominant now in this era of one and done?
Yeah, well, I don't think that's right either. They're college players. They're there to get an education. Now they're trying to turn it into a semi-pro situation. I don't like that. When Kareem and Blue Alcindor and Mike Warren and Lucius Allen were playing, you did not have freshman eligibility.
Okay.
You had to be frosh for your freshman year. Then on your sophomore year, you could play on the varsity team.
That's something. Wow.
Football too.
That's something. You have a talent like Lou Alcindor that we know is Kareem now. He had to sit out the freshman year.
No, you play, but you play freshman. You don't play varsity.
Okay.
Rush, they called it.
Mm-hmm.
And Kareem made a lot of practice. He was one awkward kid when he started playing. Really spastic, but Coach Wooten worked with him, and he sharpened up and got real capable.
Wow. Yeah, that skyhook, bro.
Well, you know what happened on that skyhook? They banned the dunk because of him.
Really?
Yeah, so I was playing football. We'd come in, shower locker room was in where Paulie Pavilion is, UCLA's basketball stadium. And we'd watch him do it. So he had Kareem practicing his skyhook over and over and over. And then once he wound up years later with the Lakers and Magic Johnson, they'd go to Magic. And if they clamped down on Magic, then they'd go to Big Lou. And instead of him dunking like ordinary centers would do, he'd do that skyhook, and nobody could block that.
Wow. So
they just feed in the Kareem, and he'd do the skyhook. When they started trying to double, triple team him, they'd go back to Magic. Magic would do his thing.
But
I tell you, it was a treat watching Elgin Baylor and
Jerry West.
Jerry West was interesting, but Elgin Baylor, well, the Celtics and the Lakers were always a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I saw my old man took me to see the very first regular scheduled season game, the L.A. Lakers at the L.A. Sports Arena, not where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've seen some phenomenal games. Tell you what also was a treat, watching Jim Brown with the Cleveland Browns play the Rams. That looked like a tank with a gyroscope. That man could run. I've seen him. I remember one game they gave that man a ball on the Rams' 47-yard line. He ran over 8 people and drug 2 more in the end zone with him.
Wow.
Damn. He's one big brother. Wilt Chamberlain. I saw some interesting games where Wilt Chamberlain was in there and Elgin Baylor was in there. Then he got his knee bad, but he's a good player.
I guess the thing with Elgin, he never won a championship. That's probably why people don't really think about him. Like when he was with the Lakers, he never won, right?
Mm-hmm. But they played some good basketball, consistent.
Wow. So you're going down memory lane. There's a lot of stuff going on. Who do you think?
They were smart. Like one of UCLA's undefeated teams, the starting center for that was Fred Slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what Fred wound up doing?
What?
He was the dean of students at UCLA Law School.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Now, there's some smart people with a lot of athletic talent. You couldn't beat that.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't the biggest guys in the world except for Fred. Fred was like 6'7" and 290-some pounds.
Wow.
Kareem was 7'2". And he grew up to that. By the way, the reason you don't see him in athletics, he's a scholar. He writes these learned books.
Mm-hmm.
He's a historian.
Mm-hmm.
There's an interesting book called Band of Brothers about the 761st Armored Regiment. That's where they came up with that Black Panther emblem. They were called Patton's Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
It was an independent armored brigade. And what happens is that they wind up in continuous combat for longer than any other outfit in the European theater. They didn't give those brothers any time off for back to Paris for rest and recreation. They just stayed on the front line. So they called them Patton's Panthers because they usually were the spearhead. So they came up with that emblem that the Deacons for Louds County Deacons for Defense and Justice came up with, that the Panther Party came up with.
Mm-hmm. That's some history. That's good to know. But I was thinking about, I'll talk to you, Judge, your wealth of information. And it seems like a sad thing about it, a lot of our people are not aware of a lot of this information. It's not being, it's readily accessible, but it's not knowing how to look for it and how to access it. And like doing us a disservice, not knowing a lot of this information. And I guess making it, available to the young people.
Well, see, here's the other thing, too. We are victims of some interesting stuff about the media.
Mm-hmm.
In the intervening 50 years since a lot of this stuff was happening, most of the people who were really doing it were doing it in a situation where, other than H. Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, and so forth, were doing what they did in a limelight because they were touring all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these guys may have been getting around or not, but they were doing quietly what the people that got the press were doing. But you see, in the intervening 50 years, they didn't get covered. Who got covered were these pretending Negroes that pimped the revolutionary efforts of others. And they came in there and they knew how to play the system, and they would get recognized, and they were safe to deal with because they could deal with white folk. They weren't like these dangerous militants. But you see, white people at one time liked dangerous militants. They would have these Hollywood parties, and they would invite BSU students, Black Panthers, and they would invite Brown Berets for the Chicanos and SDS, white radicals, and all this stuff. So these rich folk could be titillated. Oh my God, I met 2 SDS types and 2 Panthers. Oh my God, and 5 people in BSUs at this party.
Mm.
Party's a party, free wine, good stuff, fine looking women wearing micro mini dresses and glad to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't have any panties on and would throw down in a minute. Interesting.
Wow.
So, sexual revolution and titillation and excitement. We met some militant minorities.
Well, Judge, do you have any closing words or thoughts for this segment? Very enlightening, always informative.
Stop having beliefs and change them to opinions that are well grounded on facts, detailed information, and observation of the effectiveness of the idea in the real world. Stop hating somebody just because you think you ought to. Pay attention to what they are doing and start thinking about coalitions. And remember, a lot of the rhetoric you're going for was to deal with what once was an extreme situation for Black folk that now is no longer the case. So a little moderation won't hurt. You don't have to be limited to moderation, but sometimes it won't hurt you to check that out. So if you have to move beyond it, you can do that too.
Yes, sir.
And guys, try to get your man training, because it's not what you think from what I've been looking at.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Brother Judge Joe Brown. Who also can be found on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter at Judge Joe Brown TV. And you actually,
Judge Joe Brown TV, that's me.
Because I would tell people, like, if you want to find a judge, go online and go friend him on Twitter or follow him on Twitter. And you actually do respond to people. And it will surprise a lot of people.
I'm just an elder trying to spread a few words. I'm not always, somebody got on me. Why do you talk down to people? I don't try to talk down to people. But when I'm chewing somebody's ass for being wrong, sad and bad, mentally and actually, I'm not going to be nice. That's not my job. That's a mama's job. That's crept into the lexicon. No, we don't do that. Women did that. Nice mothers. Daddies, drill instructors, and coaches jumped ass when it was deserved. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, Judge.
Yeah. So I am intolerant of males who don't want to be men.
Yes, sir. Well, the struggle continues. Yeah. Struggle continues. Thank you so much, Judge. The word is the great culture. We love you madly. You keep on producing and pushing.
Yeah, there you go, young brother. You keep doing it too. You're making a name for yourself.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. God bless. All right.